Okay, hello, hi everybody. Hi. Oh yes, very good. Okay, so we are live now. Yeah, thank you everybody for joining us for tonight's analysis. I have a very special guest together with me here today. He's none other than the chairman of GEX Global Group, right? And is a very successful businessman, entrepreneur, and has done many countless of real estate deals, real estate investment lah. Right. So today we will be zooming in to a particular new launch that's going to happen over the weekend. This weekend, actually, the new launch is happening over this weekend, right? So it's none other than AMO Residence, right? So before we start, while we are waiting for more people to come in, I'd like to just ask Dr. Patrick a question, right? Hey, Dr. Patrick, do you, in your whole career or whole experience in terms of investing in property, have you seen a market that is so hot like what we are experiencing at the moment?
Thank you very much for the question. First of all, I want to tell you that I didn't realize he gave me such a kind introduction. I'm also I'm dying to hear myself too. As far as I'm concerned, it is very clear in my mind. I'm always a learner. I'm a lifelong learner. So I'm learning just as much as all of you, I hope, are learning today. You know, when you look at the market situation right now, I have to tell you this. This is really not completely new, maybe not the same, but we have similar occurrences in the past. You know what they say, right? Life goes in a cycle. The economy of a country goes in a cycle. The property market goes in a cycle. Right now, we have seen 8.5 quarters of continuous price increase. People are going into almost like a frenzy. People are buying like there's no tomorrow. So this is where, you know, a really wise investors will open their eyes and see what's really happening, what's truly driving the market, and ask themselves, you know, should I join in the game? Should I go with the herds? Is this the wisdom of the crowd or the hysteria of the masses? You know, so we have to really be very careful at this point in time.
So I just a question. I mean, if you have any questions, anything like that, please put it inside the chat. I'm not too sure whether our Facebook streaming is working well. So if you are joining us via YouTube, please put inside the chat, right? So it's very good, very essential to have interaction. Then will be more fun lah. So just out of curiosity, right? How many of you in the audience have actually went down to the AMO residence preview, or you know what is AMO, or are you staying currently in Amokyo or something, right? So you can put in a chat, right? So if you are currently staying there, or let's say you have been down to the preview, please comment on the chat, right? So Patrick, I just out of curiosity, right now the market wise, people are just buying like there's no tomorrow, right? I know just now you had a word of caution for people to really exercise some wisdom in terms of choosing the property. But beyond that, I think the interest rates and the economic outlook might not be looking that optimistic, right? So what is your view on that, or what is your take on that?
That's right. I mean, we always look at the macroeconomics, then zoom into the microeconomics, then zoom into micro segments. You know, as far as property investors is concerned, we want to look at a big picture, but finally, we really must look at the trees and not just the forest itself. We all know that the global economy is not looking very good. We still have a war going on between Russia and Ukraine, and that's created a whole repercussions of different effects all over the world. We know oil and gas, has gone up. We know the inflation is hitting the shores. We know the interest rates, has gone up and is projected to continue to increase. So the outlook really don't look very certain, stable. But that's where, all of us should be very excited because, there are a lot of rich and wealthy people like Warren Buffett that says the best time to make money is when the market is soft, when the market is unpredictable, uncertain, and when the market is challenging. So this is a good time to really look at, good buys that are available when the market is really going through a roller coaster ride.
Cool. Okay, so I just checking in to see whether our Facebook live stream is working fine. So it's something new, right? Patrick, is this your first time doing live?
Yes, man. I have to tell you, this dinosaur is still struggling to catch up with all the young people like you. You know, I've done live webinar over Zoom, over different technology, but never live the way we are doing it tonight. So it's really very exciting. We have not scripted what we're going to say. We're just prodding each other along. But at some point in time, we're going to dive deep into AMO Resident, which I think is really what we're here for. And hopefully, we're not just looking at just a case study, as I always say. Behind the case study, there are principles, there are models, there are strategies, there are systems and processes that all of us hopefully can learn from them and become a wiser investor.
Yeah, so just out of curiosity, how many of you have are MAPIC students? If you are MAPIC students, can you put inside a chat that if you are MAPIC students? Let me just type the chat and see whether it's working or not. Hi, everybody.
Okay, let me know if you are a MAPIC student. I have a growing pool of lifelong mentees. We walk with them through the whole investment journey to the end of life, either my life or their life. But because I keep myself very, very healthy. I don't smoke, don't drink, don't gamble, don't womanize. I only have one problem: I tell lies. Okay, so I'm very, very sure I will leave.
We are live.
Oh, really? Okay. Please don't tell my wife this. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, you don't have to tell my wife. My wife have a buck on me. You know what they say, right? Behind every successful man is a
successful woman.
No. Behind every successful man is a computer. And behind the computer is my wife. What age are you living in? My wife is tracking me with all the advanced technology.
She just check your cookie. Check your browsing.
She's got all my passwords. She's got all my electronic diary. She GPS. She tracked me through GPS through my phone, so you know exactly where I am. Yeah.
Okay, if she's checking your cookie, you must tell her, bring me a cup of milk and then I can enjoy my cookie together.
Okay, if I can pass a message right now, darling, I'm going on live, first time in my life. You know, I'm very, very thirsty. You know, bring some nice chocolate cake and a hot chocolate. You know, my wife gonna smack me. What do you think you are? Who do you think you are? I'm sure you all know that. You may have heard this. I, as a man, we are all head of the family. I'm the head of the family. But my wife will also tell you she's the neck. And whenever we quarrel, you know, I always make sure I have the last words. Now, you men out there, please listen very carefully. When you quarrel with your lady, when you quarrel with your wife, make sure you are the man of the house. You wear the pants. Make sure you say the last words, okay? My last words are always, I'm so sorry, darling. And I make sure my wife go on her knees. You listen very carefully. My wife will go on her knees, and then she will say, you come out from under the bed, you coward, you. know, so you can tell I'm a handbag man. Yeah. Where were we?
No, you respect the woman.
That's right. That's right.
I always tell my girlfriend also, I respect you.
That's right. Yeah.
It's very important. Okay, so Patrick, I think we can get into a bit of the meat, right? So let me just share my screen. Okay. Okay, we're gonna go in here. Okay, so let me see whether it's working well. Okay, so yeah, so if you can see my screen, please type in the chat, say yes, right? So still very quiet. So we, I mean, the more questions, the more interaction, you also will have a very, very good time, lah. Okay, but anyway, just to summarize a little bit about what we're going to cover today, right? So just a big disclaimer first, because today we'll be talking about some investments. So it's always important for you to learn, but at the same time, do your own due diligence before you decide to go forth for any kind of investment. So Patrick, I think very importantly is that how, with your so many years of experience in investing in real estate, properties, and all kinds of investments, what is the type of framework you use to really go and narrow down to the right property to invest in?
I basically tell people that when you buy property, you must know how to invest wisely. I know this sounds like common sense, but nowadays common sense is not very, very common. I can almost tell you that most people, when they invest in property, they don't know how to invest. How do I know this? Because I used to run a public listed real estate company. We used to have a commercial building, more than 10,000 people working in the building itself. And I've analyzed millions and millions of transactions, and I will be I will be amazed if I don't tell you the facts, the truth, that when I analyze most of the buyers and sellers and people who rent property, most of them actually lose money. They could have actually gotten better gains if only they know how to invest correctly. And as far as I'm concerned, our model is based on a data-driven decision-making model, DDDM model. The reason is because you must have the information to make an informed decision. So whatever you do, it must be based on evidence. Like my university professor in my doctorate degree program, I did my doctorate degree in University of Southern California. He's very fond of asking me this question. So Patrick, what is the epistemology of your presupposition? What it means is this: how do you know that what you say is a fact, is the truth? And then second question, how do you know that you know? And the third question, how do you know that you know that you know? And the fourth question, how do you know that you know that you know that you know? I think you get my point, right? By the time he asks all the five whys and the five how do I know, you really must know what you're talking about. So our way of investing must be based on data, must be based on evidence, and you must really have a good model, a good strategy, a good tactics to make sure that you enter the market and be able to buy the best property at the best possible price, and be able to know that you can enjoy capital and rental gain throughout your lifetime, and even from one generation to another generation.
Okay, so so very important, right? So the framework I think you also follow is this framework, right? So you want to take us through your framework?
Sure. This is one of the frameworks that we have created. We can't cover everything. We say when you invest in property, find the first of the best properties anywhere in the world, whether it's Singapore or anywhere in the world. FIRST. So you must know what you're looking for. I mean, factually, if you don't know what you want, you will never be able to get it, right? If you don't know how to, what constitute the best property, how can you make the most money? So F stands for fundamentals. Whatever property you invest in, make sure there are reasons that will drive up the prices, the value, and profits, so that you can enjoy the best possible return and become rich and wealthy. I stand for increasing demand. So common sense tells us when demand goes up, supply will come down, prices will go up. That's how you make a lot of money, right? R stands for returns on investment. When you invest in something, make sure it's safe, it's sound, it's stable, it's secure, and sustainable. So that's the mantra we tell all our our lifelong mentees. Make sure that you can generate good return, you generate good profits throughout your lifetime from one generation to another generation. And then T stands for time-honored gems. In other words, some things in life should change, many things should not change at all. That means when you invest in a property, it must be positively unique, distinctive, and differentiated, so that after you buy the property, even the richest man in the world cannot buy a property because your property is extraordinary, exceptional, and phenomenal. So once you know what you're looking for, then you can dive deep to look for the best property investment. And if you can find a property that can meet these five fundamentals, five basic pillars, five critical success factors, then you are on the journey, to achieve financial freedom, basically.
Wow. Okay. Seems like you set a very high bar for your property investment.
That's right. It's your hard-earned money. Aim high, so that if like what they say, if you cannot reach the stars, and if you cannot reach the sky, at least you end up with a cluster of stars, right?
Okay. So I think to map it to today's analysis, right? So we map the fundamentals to, I think, the macro fundamentals and the developer, right, of AMO. Then increasing demand, we map it to the location and master plan. When we look at the return on investment, we want to compare AMO Residence and its launch prices and its surroundings, and also the sustainability, right? So we want to make sure that if AMO is a good deal, the returns and the potential is sustainable. And I think that importantly, the next thing is to ask ourselves the question whether there are any better buys in the market, right? So that is something that we want to look at. So how many of you are ready to go? If you are ready to go, key in the chat, say ready. Yeah, so key in the chat, say ready, so that we know that all our systems and processes are in place. We are connected. Okay, still very people haven't wake up yet. But key in the chat, say ready. Okay, key in the chat, say ready.
Okay, thank you, John. Ismail, thank you, Michael. Thank you for so many of you that are typing the word ready. So I'm excited. I think Raymond is all excited. We have done a lot of good research. You see a lot of good information. Unfortunately, we can't share everything all within a very, very short live stream, but I'm sure we'll be able to do a lot more to inspire you and hopefully to be able to catalyze you to dive deeper into investing wisely.
Hello, hi Hapazo. Hi, nice to see you. Yeah. Okay. So let me just dive deep into it. So okay. So first of all, AMO Residence, right? Location wise, where is it? Okay. So it's in Amokyo itself, right? So it's built as the first new launch in Amokyo itself for the last 8 years, right? So it's a first new launch. And in fact, the preview happened not last weekend, but the 2 weekends ago, right? So basically, the preview drew 7,500 people over the weekend, right? So 7,500 people over the weekend. Right now, AMO Residence, right? So the number of units in AMO Residence, I think is around, later you'll see in the slides, but from memory, I think it's around 380 units. 380 units. So 380 units itself is not a big development. It's a small to mid-size development, right? So based on that basis, right now it's the process of collecting the check for this weekend's launch. How many checks do you think till date the project has already collected? But Patrick, are you familiar with this? In the past, like if the preview,
every person I meet in the last few weeks have been asking me about AMO. So I can sleep and dream about AMO myself too. Yeah.
But from the preview to the launch and your experience, have you seen like recently? Recently, like for example, okay, it started with Pasir Ris 8, right? So Pasir Ris 8 had about 3 times oversubscribed. Then Piccadilly Grand also close to about 3 times oversubscribed. Even Live at MB was, I think, 2 to 3 times oversubscribed. For this project itself, with 7,500 people coming to its preview over the last the launch week, the preview weekend, how many times oversubscribed do you think it will be?
Well, I think it's going to set a record in the recent time, basically. But I think the big question is not just how many times it is being oversubscribed. The important thing is the developer, like any developers all over the world, play the same game. Before the official launch, they have a soft launch, and before a soft launch, they have a pre-soft launch. The reason is because although they may have marketing agent, the usual marketing agreement, developers will also have the rights to be able to sell directly to their client. So they would have already been able to cover a certain percentage of sales even before the official launch. The reason is because come Sunday nights, when the journalists ask the developer how many percent of the sales have you done, and they have to show a very good number on the first week because that drives the whole momentum for the ongoing sales. So it's not just the 7,000 people that says I will show up, but it's a lot more that you and I cannot see at this point in time, basically. And that's really a very important thing to take note of, because by the time you enter, you may not even enter at the lowest possible price.
Okay. So from sources, I heard the amount of checks they collected so far is really anywhere between 1,004 to 1,005. Can you believe it? 380 units
Amazing.
For sale, but already 1,004 to 1,005, which is around close to 4 times. Close to 4 times oversubscribed, right? So based on that basis, right? So how many of you think that in this weekend alone, what is the percentage of the units we sold? Is it 50%? Is it 10% sold out? Is it 20% sold out? Is it 30% sold out? Is it 40% sold out? 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, or 100%? How many of you think how much percentage? Key in the chat, right? Key in the chat. I just want to give a straw poll, right? Nobody knows, right? But if you think that it's 100% sold out over the weekend, can key in 100%. If you're thinking it's 90%, key in 90%. If you think it's 80, 70, or 60, or 50, key in the chat. Patrick, what is your
my take? And the $6 million question is, we all know that if you walk into any showroom, they don't show you the price list. Why don't the developer show you the price list? Because they want to measure the response of a market. When the response is very, very strong, they put up the price higher. And depending on how the crowd will stream in during this official launch, the developer may keep increasing the price. So we all know that there's a project called Pasir Ris 8 that also got very good response. And some of you may or may not know, within one day, the developer was known to increase the price by 6 times. 6 times. In other words, the last group of people who bought the property and the first, the difference between the last group of people buying the property and the first group buying the property can be as much as $500,000 different for the same type of unit, basically. So, and this is something that if you're investor, you invest wisely. You have to really think very, very carefully. At which point of the price increase are you coming in? You may be. It's like a musical chair. The music has ended. You end up with the box, and you're the one who get caught in the end.
I think the very important thing is that for example, Pasir Ris 8, right? The prices per square foot went up to as high as $2,100 per square foot. But people still buy. Why, Patrick? Why? $2,100 per square foot in Pasir Ris.
Yeah, and the average price is about $1,500 per square foot. In other words, some people paid a higher price, some people paid a lower price. So the price difference between the last batch and the first batch, can be as much as, like I said, $500,000. That means without even realizing it, and most people don't even realize it, they have lost $500,000. That's a lot of money to lose, even though it's a paper loss. You take a long time to work on a normal executive salary to make the kind of money, basically. That's why we say, losing money is one thing, but if people who lose money and don't even know they lose money, that's the worst tragedy, basically.
Okay. So I think importantly is when you always say, right, when you want to invest and buy property, you buy it with your heart and not your you buy sorry. You buy it with your head and not your heart, correct?
That's right. Don't use just your heart, but also use your head. Don't fall in love with the properties, fall in love with the numbers. So we show you some numbers today. Don't just buy a property, because your property is not just a place to stay. Your property at the end of the day is an asset. You're going to spend anywhere between 45% to 55% of your income, investing in a property, basically. So make sure that you don't just buy a property, buy the financial results, in the long term, basically. So look at finally what returns are you getting from the precious asset that you have, where you're going to spend so much of your money, so much of your time, to save up money to prong into this asset, basically.
Okay, so let's go on the fundamentals analysis first. I think the elephant in the room, right? So Patrick, I don't think there's an elephant here, if not we. But I think the elephant in the room is that there's a few headwinds for our economy, right? So for example, BMD has already stepped out and said that maybe there's going to be some recession may hit within the next 2 years' time. And what we see is that the mortgage interest rate is also rising, right? So I think we haven't seen a 3% interest rate for our mortgages in Singapore for a long, long time, right?
That's right.
So with all these headwinds in terms of the economy, lending climate, and all these things, what's your take?
Number one, there are three major categories of borrowings. One is on a fixed rate, one is on floating rate. One is a mix of both rates, but if you swing from one rate to another rate, you probably have to incur some charges. Now, I'm not going to go through the pros and cons because these are all public information. All I want to say is be very careful when you talk to a banker, when you talk to a mortgage consultant, a mortgage broker, because these people essentially earn a commission and they'll be very, very keen to get you to refinance your property, switch from one rate to another rate, because that's how they make the money, basically. Now, you cannot, I always say that you cannot control the situation, but you can control how you invest. You can control how you invest to invest wisely. You can control in terms of how you can plan your financial position to make sure that you don't overstretch yourself. For example, if you are in a very, very tight situation, and if the interest rate goes any higher, it will put you into a very precarious position. Then take the safe route. It is better to lose a little bit of money than to lose everything, basically. So make sure that you look at all the numbers, all the possibility, then go to a quiet spot, think very, very carefully, because at the end of the day, you are going to carry the baby for a very long time to come.
That's why it's very important today you also come for a live session like this, right, where we really share with you unbiased information and also unbiased analysis, so that before you go into let's say you are going to the show flat this weekend, right? Before you go in, you already have a plan, right? So how many of you know
Before you continue, I just want to make a declaration. It's very, very important because I teach corporate governance on a master's degree level in university. So let me make a declaration. I have nothing to do with the developer. I'm not involved in any way with the property. I'm not connected with the marketing agent. Basically, although I have a real estate agency license, I'm also a registered real estate salesperson. But ever since I sold my publicly listed real estate company in 2013, I have not done any transaction. In other words, every year, the CEA will ask us to submit numbers, right? So every year I'll tell them I've not done any transaction, I've not closed any sales, I've not earned a single cent of commission from 2013 until now, basically. So I dare to say I'm as neutral as it gets, I'm as objective as it gets. And this is basically an educational session, whether at the end of the day you buy or you don't buy, you sell or you don't sell, it's entirely your own decision. I don't make a single cent. I don't have any benefits at all. I have absolutely no conflict of interest. Thank you.
Okay, the only connection between us and the developer is only one thing. You know what's the one thing?
I think I know, because one of the properties that we are involved in, where we rented, they are our landlord. So if the landlord is listening in, please don't increase my rental just because I'm trying very hard to be a good educator.
Yes. So in other words, we pay UOL, the developer, our rental. So, but anyway, some of you I think might be thinking that, hey, if there's so many headwinds, maybe how would it impact the property market, right? So I think the government, Singapore government has done very good, very prudently managed the situation, right? So this article shows that as compared to the 2009, the previous crisis, the current housing market is actually more stable, right? So because of the TDSR, which in fact households are not exposed to very high leverage. So basically, I think the market-wise, the government has really done a very good job in terms of preserving the market, which is good news for all of us, right? But with all these headwinds, that is coming in and whatnot, really exercise caution, and you must really focus on buying very wisely. Yeah.
No, I want to just share one maxim. I always tell my lifelong mentees, those who know about property investment will always make money from those who don't know about property investment. Those who learn about property investment will always make money from people who don't learn about property investment. Those who take wise action will always make money from those who don't take wise action. So my point is very simply this. You need to learn, you need to know, and you need to take wise action. And this is something you cannot do on your own. You can't go read all the books in the library or download all the information on the internet. You need to seek wise counsel, as a biblical principle, so that you are able to take the wise action to be able to generate the best return for yourself.
Yeah. So those of you guys who are joining us in this session, feel free to like and also share this session with your page or with your friends, who can benefit from this information. Because after we look at these macroeconomic fundamentals, we will deep dive into the project itself, and we will evaluate this project. What kind of potential numbers, right? What is the estimated selling price? And whether I think the major question is, if it's selling, if I'm going to buy it at this price, whether should I buy in this development or should I buy in another parts of Singapore, right? So I think it's going to be very good stuff, right? So feel free to like and share with your friends, right? This video, so that we can all learn and benefit together, right? So I think we go into the location itself, right? So this is the location itself, right? So it's about 5 minutes walk to the Mayflower TL line, right? And it's in Ang Mo Kio, right? So there's a very good catchment for schools, shopping center, food, and also nearby there's this very nice parks. There's a lot of nature, right? And very importantly is that this AMO Residence is also very close to two very good schools, right? So Ai Tong Primary School and also the CHIJ St. Nicholas Girls Schools, right? So it's very near to these schools, and it's about maybe 1 km within the radius, right? So later we look at the site itself. I will also point out certain points for you to really take note. If let's say you are someone who is very particular about being 1 km near to the school, okay? Because later when we look at the overhead, the aerial drone photo, you will see what I mean by that, okay? So being part of the TL line, right? So it is at Mayflower, right? So it takes about 8 stops to get into Orchard, right? and it takes about 13 stops to get into Shenton Way, right? So and towards the north, later you see in our analysis. So when we look at the property, we always look at master plan. Right, Patrick? Why is it important to look at a master plan?
Why is it important? Because every 4 years or so, the government will release the latest master plan that will project what the real estate will be like for next 10 to 15 years. And we know that we have a very serious government. They do a lot of putting a lot of effort to do the planning. And when they finish the plan, and they take a lot of trouble to make sure that they actualize the plan basically. So by looking at master plan, you will know where are the growth area, where the area that has got the greatest potential for growth in terms of the real estate demand, where would be the biggest supply point, and all these supply demand factors will be able to point to you where you can find the best property gems.
Okay, very important. So, guys, if you think that looking at the master plan is important, key in the chat say master plan, or key in the chat say yes, right? Because something that is as fundamental as this one is very important. So if you want us to analyze the master plan also, please key in the chat say yes, right? Then we will do an analysis of the master plan with you guys. Okay, but anyway, just to share a bit of a brief teaser what's happening, right? So in fact, there is 5 stops away to Woodlands area, right? So actually Woodlands is, let us see one article, right? It's set to become like a star destination. And why? Because there's lots and lots of things that's happening in the area, right? It essentially is part of the Northern Innovation Corridor, which later we'll cover in greater detail, right? So this is Thomson East Coast Line, which is 5 minutes away from AMO Residence. So it's very exciting. Okay. Something to understand as well is with its locality, right? So it's in Ang Mo Kio area. So Ang Mo Kio area, if you are familiar with the zoning in Singapore, the CCR, Core Central Region, it is in red, right? So very prime. We look at the D9, D10, D11, these kind of districts, Core Central Region. When we look at the city fringe, is denoted in the yellow box, right? So in fact, Ang Mo Kio area, it is not in the city fringe, right? To my surprise, because I used to stay in Pasir Ris. So when I was living in Pasir Ris, that was really at the far ends of Singapore. So it's a really OCR, right? But in my mind, before I was preparing for this presentation, I think Ang Mo Kio was quite city central, but in terms of zoning wise, it's still not part of the city fringe even, right? So when we want to do, before we do some comparison, I just want to bring your attention to this quick comparison, right? So we look at D20, where Ang Mo Kio is sitting in, right? So D20, in my opinion, D12, Serangoon area, D23, Bukit Batok, Bukit Panjang area, D05, Clementi, Queenstown area. Actually, majority of Queenstown is city fringe, but let's say Clementi area. I think these few districts, D20, D12, D23, D05, in my opinion, they are still relatively close to the city core of Singapore, right? So it's also good to understand between D20, D12, D23, and D05 and D24 during maybe, what is the prices like, right? So then we can get some understanding of the market. Okay, so if we look at this quick price comparison, we will notice that in D20 market, uncompleted freehold property, that means under construction, is about $1,900 per square foot. 99 years is about 1,008. Okay, less than 5 years resale property, less than 5 years, still quite young, is about 1,007 to 1,005, right? 99 years is about 1,005. If you look at Serangoon area, which is an area that is more in demand, right? So we can see that the resale properties less than 5 years old is about 1,009 for freehold to 1,007, right? So very quick comparison is this, right? So for example, if you are looking to buy something in D20, a freehold uncompleted, right, at 1,009, right? So by spending the same 1,009, you can buy sort of resale property, freehold in D12, right? So that is a kind of analysis you want to do. But importantly is whether this 1,009 you can buy somewhere else at this price that is maybe more prime, more central, and different things, right? So when we look at all this comparison, we like to do this kind of analysis, right? So importantly is D23. Later I'll share with you our analysis. I feel that D23 is a area whereby you can pay some attention to. Okay, why? Because the new launches, uncompleted properties, freehold is still about 1,006, 99 is about 1,600. Less than 5 years, about 1,003, right? So in a city fringe OCR region, I think it's quite good value. And I personally, I like the downtown line a lot, right? So it's an area that is connected by the downtown line. So you can also look at it. Later, I will share deeper analysis into D23, right? D05, not surprisingly, under the Greater Southern Waterfront Master Plan, right? So if you look at the resale, freehold is about $2,000. 99 years about 1,005. So the main question is that if you are spending 1,009 in Ang area, which is OCR, you might do even better if you spend less money, 1,005 at Greater Southern Waterfront area, right? So that is the whole basis of the price comparison. Yeah.
I think Raymond make a very, very good point here. Life is about options. Remember this, life is about options. You have a lot of options. Don't just, be so myopic to say, I have to invest in this particular project. When you invest in a project, look at comparison. Look at what's available out there. For some reason, sometimes some of the properties, that you're looking at, you can actually get a better buy at a lower price in a better location. Basically, why not? So give yourself, all the options, then make the decision basically. Yeah.
So Melina, thank you so much, right? So master plan, right? So it's very important to look at the master plan for reasons just now we shared, right? So so absolutely right? So Patrick made a very, very important comment and important suggestion. But anyway, at this point of time, I just want to make a short commercial break to ask you guys, if let's say you are joining us on our YouTube channel, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and also click on the notification button, because we are looking to do more such of these events where we bring you great value. So be the first to know and follow our socials, right? So if you're joining us in our Facebook channel, feel free to click like, right? So that you will be notified on our content as well, right? So let me just put in the chat so that you guys can subscribe. Okay, so subscribe to YouTube over here. Our Facebook is here, like our Facebook here, right? So of course, if you have any friends that you think that will benefit from this session, like, share, and invite them to come. Anyway, it's totally free, right? So so let's do a deep dive now, right? So now you get a understanding of the location. So on the project fact sheet itself is a joint venture between UOL, Singapore Land, and also Keng Leong Company, right? So it's in District 20. This is the address. The land tenure is about 99 years from 30th August 2021. Expected TOP date today is 2022, right? So it takes about 4 years. They forecast about 4 years to build it. I think in view of the COVID climate, I think it's prudent, right, to forecast a bit longer, because there will be construction delays and whatnot. Number of units, about 370 units. So it's about small to mid-size, right? Not a mega-sized project. So this is a developer, right? So very experienced developer. And what Patrick just now mentioned, we are actually paying rent to UOL, right? So that is something that is happening. So I think
in case you need to know, our office in Novena Square is a grade A office, raised floor, beautiful shopping center, 2 office tower block, 2 hotels beside us, one of the most beautiful location. The rental is even more expensive than many of the buildings in CBD and Orchard Road itself. So UL is our developer, but we are not connected to them in any way, form, or manner. We are just here as an educator to share with you objectively in the most neutral way possible on our analysis of this project.
Yep. So I think importantly, we look at the master plan, right? So just now Melina also mentioned about the master plan, right? So if we look at the TL line, just now I already did a quick analysis, right? So it's very well connected line, 5 minutes to the Mayflower line. And from there, about 8 stops to Orchard, about 13 stops away to Shenton Way, where people work there, Marina Bay. So you can see this very nice infographic. It's actually a very connected line, because from this line, you can even get to Katong area, Marine Parade area, and eat the good food there, right? So that's the thing. But on Ang Mo Kio is also have another line, which is the red line, right? So the north-south line. So one train stop away from Ang Mo Kio is actually Bishan, right? So if you look at the master plan, when you go and study a master plan, you will realize that in Bishan, right? So Bishan, I'm very familiar with Junction 8, right? So Junction 8 is a shopping center for like a long time. Okay, but in fact, there's a piece of land just beside Junction 8. This is zoned to be a new commercial development, right? So if you look at this master plan, you realize that the plot ratio is a 4.2 plot ratio. So why is this important? Is because this land can actually build double the size and scale of Novena Square and Velocity, right? So over here is able to build grade A offices like the ones in PLQ, right? So this will bring in a lot of tenants into the area. So what's going to happen? So let me ask you this question, right? If you think that if you buy in Amokyo area, one train stop away, there's this whole new zoning of a new commercial area that is going to be grade A offices. Do you think that the rental demand for your property will increase or decrease? If you think that it will increase, type in the chat, say increase. If you think that it will decrease for whatever the reason, please type in decrease, right? So thank you so much, Melina. So yeah.
This is not an examination. There's no right or wrong answer. It's good to stimulate you to think because we're also thinking along with you at the same time.
Correct. So Melina says increase, right? So I think it's a no-brainer, right? So it's going to increase. And then
the question is increase over what period of time? Because ultimately all rental will increase. I mean, if you look at it 30 years down the road, all rental will have gone up basically, right?
Correct.
But what's the impact of this area, on the AMO residence? Whether you get better rental in this sub-regional center or the one that's nearer to AMO residence. So that's the thing you have to compare, right? Which one will give you a better return? Yeah.
Hi, David. Hi, nice to see you again. Looking very handsome, David. Looking very handsome.
Yeah, hi, David.
Yeah, I can show you.
I think there's one more person we forgot to say hello. It's an Indian gentleman, is a Malay gentleman. Yeah, Harpazo Maranatha.
Yeah,
you have an amazing name, Maranatha. Has got profound meaning basically. Yeah.
Okay, so just now I also alluded to this shortly, right? So Woodlands is just 5 stops away, right? So over here is the whole agri-tech and food corridor, right? So over here, there's going to be lots and lots of happening over here, right? So it's another, maybe a star destination towards the north. And we look at by driving, if you look at the map over here, what's going to happen is that from AMO Residence, actually, if you take a car, it's about 16 minutes away to this Seletar Aerospace Park. Patrick, have you been to Seletar Aerospace Park?
Absolutely. Oh. Just let you know, in case you don't know, by 2030, it is projected that the authorities will remove the Seletar Airport, and it's going to produce the biggest. It's going to produce the biggest property development sites for a very, very long time to come. And we know that when you get a property development site that's so large, there's going to be really exciting development. Basically, it's going to be the next CBD, which is right at heart of the country itself, basically. And right now, most of the properties around that region, at most they only have about 2.4 plot ratio. But I think once the airport has been removed, all the plot ratio can go up because there's no more blockage for aeroplane landing and so on and so forth. So exciting area to look at. Yeah.
Okay, so over here there's many renowned companies like I think this logo is GE Electric. Rolls-Royce is over there, right? So lots and lots of this world-class company in that park. Also very importantly, AMO Residence, if you look at it, it's about 7 minutes to this north-south corridor, right? So this north-south corridor, it's a grand plan by the Singapore government is delivering now at the moment, right? It's really to connect the north to south, okay? And it passes by TPE, SLE, PIE, and then connect all the way to ECP. So, and also part of it is actually a tunnel. So if you look at here, it's actually a tunnel underground. It's really brilliant, this whole corridor, right? So all these things will really help to just give you a flavor of how good the location is. Okay, but anyway, another part is that it's very close to this couple of schools that is really one of the most popular choices in Singapore, right? So I think the top most popular choice primary school in Singapore is CHIJ, right? So if you look at it, it's 157% popularity. Aitong is also ranked number 3. I remember when I was preparing for my PSLE exam, when we buy those 10-year series, we do. I remember Aitong School, right? Because their exam paper is so difficult.
Can I make just some
Crazy.
comments? I mean, if you are really buying a property to be within 1 kilometer to a good school, don't assume that you have priority, because most of these very popular school, designer schools, they are so highly sought after. Chances are you will probably still have to go through the ballot. Basically, I know this because I used to be a CCC chairman, which is the highest ranking volunteer in any constituency. And where I came from, we used to have another very beautiful, highly sought after designer schools. And all those people who stay within 1 kilometer never get a chance to get a priority, basically. Of course, as a father, I also want to just caution you, don't just think of sending your children to the best school, because at the end of the day, primarily education should come from our parents, basically. And think very carefully, because some of these really good school, they're very bright kids, or at least they come. These kids are put into a lot of pressure to do well academically. Some of them come from very good families. So when you put your children into this school, you may or may not be putting your children into unnecessary stress. I may or may not be a very good father, but when I send my children to school, I send them to a neighborhood school. Then out to be a blessing in disguise, because my children did very well in the school, highly respected. They swept all the prizes, basically. Unfortunately, they are both gifted children. They finally got accepted into a gifted school, basically. But at least, at the foundational stage, at the beginning stage, they really enjoy their school life, basically. So think very carefully as a parent, whether you really need to send your children to all these designer schools. Yeah.
I'm a neighborhood school boy as well.
Me too.
Yeah, so.
I don't think you and I did too badly.
Okay.
This is called self-praise. Own self-praise, own self. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, just to orientate you, right? So CHIJ is all the way to the north from AMO Residence, while this Aitong School is all the way to the south, right? So if you look at the map-wise, you can see it's still within 1 km. But really, when you go down to the show flat and all these things, when you have a bit of more time to ask the agent or the developer, I think it would be prudent if, let's say, you are thinking of buying this stack over here, to really check through to make sure that the distance from this stack is still within 1 km of Aitong. If, let's say, you really like Aitong, the school, right? Vis-a-vis, likewise, if, let's say, you're buying here, this stack, you must make sure that it's also within 1 km of CHIJ, because you never know, right? So good to ask questions, but all this information, good to have a plan before you go there, then you can execute.
Don't buy the property and then 2 years later, when your child is 6 years old, time for registration, you discover your stack is 1.01 meters. Yeah. You missed by 100 meters to be within the school limits. Yeah.
Yes. So, how many of you will agree that this AMO Residence, actually location is not that bad? If you think that location is not bad, it's quite good. You just key in the chat, say good, G-O-O-D, right? So if you think that it's quite a good location, key in the chat, say good, G-O-O-D. Hey Patrick, just out of curiosity, I mean, I think you are a believer, right, that a property must make you money.
That's
rather
right.
than so in your opinion, staying in your own, the property you buy is not such a good idea, right? So you have been renting.
This is my my idiosyncrasy. I always tell people the best property that make you the most money may not be the property you love to stay in it, and the property that you love to stay in it may not be the property that make the most money. So I often share with my lifetime mentees that you don't necessarily have to buy a house and stay in a house and get all your money stuck in the house. So as far as I'm concerned, I walk my talk. I from a long time ago, like many of you, when you have the money, instead of buying a house to stay, I bought an investment property that I know. And later on, you see our calculation. I know for a fact that the capital gain will be strong, the rental gain will be very strong. And then I stay in a rented house. I find a place where there are too many houses, too little buyers, too little tenants. So there are a lot of empty houses, either in the condominium or in the area itself. And then I will take my time to bargain with owners of all these empty houses and find the best, the lowest rental to stay in. And I've stayed in some of the most beautiful homes. For the longest time when my children were born, we stayed in a newly developed landed property, 3 stories, 7 bedroom, 5 toilets, big garden in front. And I only pay about $1,600, whereas my first property at that point in time, which is a shop house, was already collecting $10,000. And that's how I brought up my kids, with the $8,400 difference. And then when my children came back from overseas, my daughter told me, Papa, let's move into a bungalow. And I told her, we don't need to stay in a bungalow. But she understands the same principle. She said, this is not the best location. There are a lot of empty houses. Landlord has left the house empty for 4 or 5 months. He's pretty desperate, willing to rent to us at a very, very cheap price. So meanwhile, my property, is collecting about $20,000 rental, and I was paying the landlord about $3,000. It's gone up a bit now, and by arbitraging between an investment property and a rental property, I can easily get more than $20,000 in terms of the difference, and that could easily give me a very comfortable life. And that may be something you want to consider doing, basically. Okay, so you don't have to plonk all your money into a house and you stay in it, basically.
Okay, so yeah, Melina say good location, right? So, but I think very importantly is let's look at the numbers, the ROI, the return on investment. Okay, so before we go here, since now we got more people in the room, how many of you are thinking to buy AMO Residence for investment? If you think that it's going to be a good investment, can key in the chat say yes. Okay, if you think that it may be okay, going to be an okay investment, you can just say okay. But if you think that maybe it's not a good investment, you can key in the chat say no, right? So it's a conducive environment where we can share our opinion here, right? So if you think that it's going to be a good investment, without looking at the numbers, we will deep dive in the numbers. But if you think that it's going to be a good investment, you can key in say good, yes. You think that is a okay investment, you can key in the chat say okay. If you think that it's not going to be a good investment, you can key in the chat say no, right? So just out of curiosity,
so if you have more people wanting to buy the property, we end the presentation straight away, right?
We got to go and camp already.
We better run there. We better run there while all of you are still stuck here, right? We must join in a queue right in front, right?
Yes.
And I'm sure by the time we reach there, we may not even be in front anymore. Yeah.
No more. Okay, so yeah. So anyway, let's look at the numbers, right? So basically, first and foremost, we got to evaluate, right? And these days is if you know how to do it, you can do it like really like that, right? So basically, we first got to evaluate how much is the break-even Psf of this development itself, right? Because this piece of land is a GLS land site, right? So it drew a top 15 bids, right? In 20.
For those who don't know, GLS stands for Government Land Sales. So every now and then the government will put up site for developers to bid, and then it's an open tender, and then you can see the results of the bid, and then all the information are public information anyway.
Yeah, so Melina say, I think with the same quantum, I can get something else better, perhaps. Well, Melina, you went down.
Melina,
you went down to the show flat already. Maybe she knows already.
But don't break don't picture our lobang, okay?
Yeah. But later we'll go into deeper dive, right? So yeah. By the way, yeah. So what the GLS land site, right? So based on that, we can calculate the estimated break-even PSF, right? So if we factor in the construction costs, financing costs, professional fees, marketing, total costs, and whatnot, we derive a break-even price of about $1,800 per square foot. Okay, so that is the money. That is the PSF that the developer to sell in order to break even, right? So, but of course, developer is a for-profit organization. So some units they maybe just break even, but most of the units they will sell and make a margin, right? So typically their margin is anywhere between 15% to 20%, right? So if we price in 50% margin, price per square foot will be about close to $2,100 per square foot. If we look at 20% margin, it will be close to about $2,200 per square foot, right? So that is the differing price points that if you look at the margin, 15 to 20%, it will be this price range that the developer is going to launch. But guess what, guys? The developer announced on, when was it? Beginning of the month, right? So the prices will start from $1,890 per square foot. Wow. Why are you smiling so?
I smile because it reminds me that most real estate agents don't have a basic salary. They earn on commission. You ask any real estate agent, is this a good time to sell? Most of them will say good time to sell. And then by same token, same time you ask them, is it a good time to buy? They also tell you it's a good time to buy. So they don't have a position. As long as you buy or sell, they just want to earn their commission. So be very careful what kind of advice they give you. And the other thing they always tell you is this: developer is selling below market price. But really, I mean, at the end of the day, they never tell you what exactly is the market price, and they will tell you the price is going to increase. So be very careful. don't get caught up with this thing called the FOMO syndrome, the fear of missing out syndrome, where they tell you the price is going to increase. So make sure you catch on the wave, don't be left out basically. And so people get very kanchong, you know. This is the Hello Kitty syndrome. They have to charge in and be among the first, thinking that they're among the first, but they may or may not be among the first to be invest in those properties. So please understand the psychology behind all these marketing campaigns.
Yep. So looks like we got more people now. Patrick, we got 24 people already. Maybe next time we got to start at 9 o'clock. Okay, but anyway, if we look at the pricing points, it's from the big thing is from $1,890 per square foot. So we look at the unit mix is anywhere between 2-bed premium, 3-bedroom, 3-bed plus study, 4-bed, 5-bed penthouse. We look at the estimated Psf pricing. It's for 2-bedders is about $2,050 per square foot. 3-bedroom is I think something that they want to push, right? So 3-bedroom will be around 26 plus 6 will be 33, about 1/3 of the project, right? So 1/3 of the project they are looking to maybe push at $1,890 per square foot. 4-bedder, 5-bedder penthouse will be about $1,900 to $1,950, right? So if
for those who join us late at this point in time, and they join us earlier on, just remember these are all projected prices. By the end of the day, the shorts is being caught by the developer. If we see a lot of people charging in this weekend, they will keep increasing the price, just like a previous project. There's another project called Pasir Ris 8, where in one day the developer increased the price 6 times. So you really have to be very, very wise and looking at numbers. And earlier on I say, don't fall in love with the property, fall in love with the numbers. Don't fall in love with the flyers, the brochures, the show flats, or the model, because at the end of the day, when you buy the property, when the property is being delivered to you, very, very seldom they look like the one you see in your marketing brochure, your show flat, and your model basically.
Yes. So if you look at it, the average PSF is about $1,960 per square foot based on the pricing list. But very interestingly, is if you look at this penthouse, your penthouse, if you look at the square footage and we look at the quantum needed to buy this 99 years old penthouse, it will cost you around anywhere between $4.4 million to $4.8 million to buy this penthouse. Patrick, $4.4 million to $4.8 million to buy a 99 years penthouse. Do you think it's worth it?
I mean, if you have the spare money, you like to live in a condo, I have nothing to say. But if you want to look at it purely from an investment point of view, I think I can think of many ways to generate better returns. You know, if I have this kind of money, basically, and you can even live a better lifestyle. Like I mentioned to you all earlier on, I'm staying in a bungalow without having to pay this kind of money, basically.
Yeah. So how many of you would agree that if you have 4.4 million or 4.8 million to spend, would you be better off buying something else as compared to this AMO Residence? If you think that yes, if I have 4.4, 4.8, I go and buy something else, is much better. If you think that you can do something better, key in the chat, say yes. If you think that 4.4, 4.8 at the AMO Residence is still quite worth it, you can key in the chat, say worth it, right? So if you think that you can do better, say better. But if you think that it's worth it, you can key in the chat, say better. If you think that it's worth it, you can key in the chat, say worth it. So Melina, yes, definitely right. So you think that you can definitely do better, right? So, but the question is how to be better, right? So we can go through, we look at the location, we see what's happening in the vicinity, right? So, yep. So looks like there's only Melina in the chat.
Thank you for your active participation, Melina.
Yeah. So really got to encourage more people to type. So more people type, then more fun. Right, so if you look at it at 4.4, 4.8 million kind of quantum size. If you look at the vicinity, okay, so something that is very interesting, if you look at the drone shot, this is AMO Residence. So if you look at the vicinity, really what's happening is that there's lots and lots of landed, right? So there's lots of landed property. If you buy AMO Residence, also quite good. You have a very good unblocked view, right, over this side. But if you look at this price tag, if you look at the Google map, I went to Gepo, I go and search along this street, Jalan Lanjut, right? So to buy a freehold landed property, this is a freehold terrace house property, is really 4.5 million, right? So as compared to a 99 years leasehold penthouse at 4.5 million, you need to fork out. You might as well go and buy this freehold terrace house just neighbor, right? So
actually, come to think of it, when I look at map right now, if you're really looking at different alternative location, you may want to look at Lentor Hill, because the URA master plan suggests that Lentor Hill is one area where the government, the authority wants to fully redevelop the whole area. Hong Leong have just bidded at a record high price for land in Lentor Hill area, and there is a major train station going to be opened up there. And right now, the whole area has got very low density property, and the whole stretch from Yio Chu Kang, Upper Thomson, all the way to Admiralty Park, you'll find that it's a relatively what we call in Singapore Ulu area. You've got old army camp, old HDB flat, old shop houses, old walk-up apartment, old shopping mall, and our Prime Minister have already suggested that every square inch will be fully developed. You can't have one area of Singapore that look very, very good, another area that doesn't look very, very good. So in our model, we call this the next growth corridor. Look at those locations, because that would really be a good location for you to generate good returns in time to come here.
So Melina say she can also use the money to improve herself and get more leverage for herself. Yeah, that's exactly right.
The best investment is always investing in yourself, really.
Yep.
And the fact that you are here, really, I'm very, very grateful and thankful, because we know that you have choices, but the fact that you spend this evening with us, we are eternally grateful to you, and we're all learning at the same time.
Yeah. So I think going back to the point, right? So at 4.8 million to buy a penthouse, 99 years leasehold, you might be better off looking at the landed nearby. So what's happening in the other parts, right? So if we do a location scan around the area, so we look at this few landed area, right? So I think where Wellington Park here, so it's maybe closer to Mayflower. We look at Thomson Hills. So Thomson Hills is over here. So it's closer to CHIJ maybe, right? So if you look at the transacted price at this Wellington Park is about 4.9 million, 5 million for a semi-D freehold, 4.3 for a semi-D house. If you look at this Thomson Hills estate, right? So it's about 3 million. You can buy a 3 million, you can buy a terrace house at freehold, So really, I think at this price tag of 4.4, 4.8, you might be better off really considering the freehold properties in the vicinity or even Lentor area. So going back on that, what's going to happen is that we will also do another analysis on the Lentor modern, right? So we're coming up as well. So really subscribe to our channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our Facebook, then you will get updated on all these things. So Melina, really thank you so much for your
active participation.
really. Yeah, so first thing, right? So landed, so at this price tag, really go and look at something else, right? So I think landed makes a lot of sense. I think we also want to look at within 1 km, right? So what is the price comparison wise? How does it look like? So at $1,900 per square foot for this price tag leasehold, we found another property, Lattice 1, right? So it's G. So over here is a freehold. It's also a new launch, right? So about 1,009. But I think a lot of people like to compare with Panorama. So Panorama is E over here, right? So Panorama is a pretty new property because it's just TOP 2017. Prices there is about $1,700 per square foot, right? So I mean, usually new launch will always be more expensive than resale. On that note, Patrick, what do you think? Like right now, the current market between new launch, resale.
I want to highlight a misnomer here, because research shows that most Singaporeans would like to buy properties, during a new launch. They want to buy, and you ask them why, they say they want to buy a new property. But think about it, if you travel along any main road, East Coast Road, Thomson Road, Bukit Timah Road, you see a lot of condominium. Can you tell me which property is 2 years old, which property is 5 years old, which property is 7 years old, which property is 12 years old? Actually, you only know the difference at the beginning. After a few years, you cannot tell the difference anymore. So at the end of the day, as I mentioned just now, don't fall in love with the property, fall in love with the numbers. Don't fall in love with an asset, fall in love with the financial results at the end of the day. you can be buying a newly launched property and it looks new at the beginning, but finally it does not mean that you can generate the best return. And just because two condos side by side one another, one is relatively newer, one is relatively older, doesn't mean that the one that's newer will get a better rental than the other one. For all you know, the one that's an older property is better design, has got better facility, they actually enjoy the better rental. So you can buy a property in the secondary market at a lower price and still get a higher rental yield, basically. So net, you get better returns. And if you say, Patrick, the new property looks very good. Remember, once you go in the house, it's an empty house, basically. If you have got a major price disparity, there's a lot of things you can do to renovate your house to make it into a haven for yourself and unique and customized to your taste, basically. So at the end of the day, as I mentioned, don't be so caught up because when there's a new property launch, there's always a lot of hype, a lot of real estate agent pushing for a property. There's not so much hype, when they sell you a property in the secondary market. You sell one at a time versus you sell hundreds at a time. There's a world of difference in terms of the marketing hype, basically. So don't be caught up with this marketing hype. Don't be caught up with all the noise in a market. Keep your senses, look at the numbers, invest wisely.
Okay, so I think Melina asked a question, would we be comparing between Lentor Modern and AMO Residence? Actually, Melina, I'm going to do you one better. We're going to compare between AMO and the CCR, right? D9, D10, D11, right? So what's so fun about comparing AMO Residence and Lentor? We're going to compare to see whether there's any opportunity in the D9, D10, D11 region, right? So stay tuned for that. We're going to go there very shortly. Okay, so that is the comparison. The other thing is we also like to compare. I mean, since Aitong CHIJ is also one of the key draw of this project. So we also want to compare within 1 km of Aitong Primary School, what kind of properties we can buy, right? So as you can see, we can buy Country Grandeur, freehold property, 1996 TOP. The prices now is about 1,005. So freehold is 1,005. This is about 1,009, and in fact, it's much closer to Aitong as compared to this AMO Residence, right? So we look at other parts, so about 1,005. If you look at the leasehold, Thomson Impression about 1,006. Thomson Grand, all these things. So there's all these various choices that you can consider, right? So within 1 km of Aitong. CHIJ, another popular school, right? So within 1 km of CHIJ, we can also see, like for example, the freehold properties, Calrose is about 1,004 as compared to 1,009. So again, freehold new launch, that kind of price comparison. So really, I think there is much better choices as compared to AMO Residence. But in fact, I don't think it's in that district itself, which we come to the next part on sustainability, right? So this part is really want to look at the returns or the projected returns, the potential that we're going to talk about, whether it's sustainable in the long run, right? So to do that, we not only want to compare within the vicinity, but we want to also compare amongst Singapore, right? So to really map out the regions to really find whether there's any better buys, right? So Patrick, anything you want to jump in on this?
Always remember that when you invest, it must be, like a mantra we said earlier on, it must be safe, sound, stable, secure, and sustainable. So these 5 S's are very, very crucial and key when you evaluate any property investment, basically.
Okay, so when we look at that, let's do some comparison. Right, so just now we mentioned, right, so AMO Residence Psf on average about 1,009. If we look at D20 itself, right, so D20 new launches are going about 1,008 to 1,009. 5 years property is about 1,007 to 1,005. Okay, but actually, if you look at CCR, D9, D10, D11. Okay, so let's look at D9. Okay, so let's look at D9 first. Okay, D9, very prime area, uncompleted. I mean, it's new launch. There is about 3,000, 2006. If you look at resale, it's about 2002, 2003, right? So still 5 years young, but 2002, freehold, D9. So between AMO, 1,009 to D9, 2002, freehold, $300 per square foot difference only. Might as well, right? But if you look at D11 I think is quite a gem because if you look at the average pricing, okay.
Sorry, ma'am. I may want to share some experience with all of you. I bought property in Orchard Road. I bought property in Marina Bay area. I bought them during the crisis. I think some of you will be very, very shocked. I bought Orchard Road at $700 per square foot. I bought CBD area at slightly more than $1,000 per square foot. And of course, we always sell it according to market price, but based on the early on macroeconomic study, we never know whether hard times will come. Whenever hard times will come, people's jobs and careers are affected, their businesses, their profits and cash flow may be affected, their whole business model may be challenged. And so you get a lot of desperate seller. And because they bought the property very, very cheap, they can still make money even if they sell lower than market price. So you don't have to sympathize with them. So this is where, although this is all absolute numbers, these are generally the market price at this point in time, but we're not showing you the outliers because they're always desperate seller. They're selling you below the market price. And this is where you generate the best returns in property investments.
So actually, Patrick is absolutely right? So as part of our what we do for the community is that we do what we call a deal sourcing kind of session, right? So we have looked at properties around Singapore, right? So for example, we looked at the north, we look at central area, we even look for en bloc opportunities, right? So in fact, in our en bloc opportunities deal sourcing seminar, we were talking about Chuan Park. So do you know Chuan Park?
Of course. One of the things that we do, this is called this is really a micro segment study of a particular area, but we look at we do a study on the whole URA master plan. We can identify for you more than 90 over properties that we think has got en bloc potential. We identify for you at least 8 different areas that we know you cannot go wrong with invest in those areas because of the strong growth area, the billions of dollars being spent, to clear the land, to improve the infrastructure, the private sector coming with billions of dollars to improve the amenities. So these are the key areas that we look out for way before you see the advertisement, way before the developer indicates, they can bring in your check basically, because you want to be early in the game. You want to be a first to be on the queue. You want to be able to go in before the rest of the market go in basically. So this is where you maximize your profit basically.
So going back on that basis, right? Why did I bring this up? Because Patrick mentioned about outlier. So actually, in one of the session, what we did was we found that there was one particular property that the asking price of that property is actually 14% below the transacted price. That means the listing price is really 14% below the transacted price. So if you were an investor, do you consider this as quite a good opportunity to take a double tick? I think you would, right? Because it's at asking level is 14% cheaper than the transacted price, right?
Basically,
so if you go there, you make an offer, you maybe can even push the prices even down.
You already make a paper profit, and then if you're smart enough to learn how to refinance a property, you can actually leverage on a property to actually start owning a portfolio of property investment. So a lot of our lifetime mentees, basically within less than 5 years, own anywhere between 4 to 7 properties. Why? Because they learn how to be able to leverage on the first property to be able to build up a portfolio of property investment, basically.
Yeah. So if there is more responses, okay, if there's more responses as compared to just Melina, right? So if you want to see this less than 14% asking, there is the asking price is less than 14% as compared to the transacted price. Keen the chat, say yes. So if more people keen, yes, I might show you this property, right? So it's a additional bonus, right?
So I'm dying to know. Please say yes. I'm also dying to know too.
Yeah. Melina cannot, but Melina is banned from keying yes. We got to see more per more. Is it Melina?
Melina type yes. Three votes.
got to have more people, right? So if you want to see this really transacted price, there is the asking there is 14% cheaper than the transacted price. Can you chat say yes? More people keen yes now.
You can tell that we are not here as a property agent telling you what to buy, what to sell. We are not here as property consultant giving you just an analytical point of view. We have also got people who do live stream and we always joke about it because they're very, very funny. We enjoy the entertainment, but finally, property investment is a very serious business. We are fun people. We are party people. By the end of the day, we can joke with you, but finally, it's your hard-earned money, and it's my hard-earned money. We want to make sure that we make our money work hard for us.
Okay, so but going back to here, what's going to happen is that if we look at once again, refresh your memory, right? So AMO Residence on average about 1,009. We look at D11, right? So D11 itself, we look at the new launch about 2001, 2006. But very interestingly, resale less than 5 years property is about 1,005 for freehold. D11,005. I mean, if you are considering OCR D20, you might as well go and look for gems in D11,005, right? So if you want to look at D10, so D10 more prime, right? So about 3001, 2008. So if you look at the comparison wise, I think an opportunity is in D11. So in fact, what's going to happen is that next month itself, we'll be looking for opportunities in the D11 market, right? Because we spotted this price gap or price disparity that we think that is good time to look at D11 for potential gems.
Just let
right?
you know, after the 2003 crisis, and it was District 9 prices that shot up. So we were there before the market shot up. Like I mentioned to you, I bought Orchard Road property at $700 per square foot, basically. And when everybody was charging into District 9, we went to the next corridor of growth, which is District 10 and eventually to District 11. So I bought properties, around the Newton Circus area for $800 per square foot. And I bought Balestier Road, for example, about $900 per square foot. So I've done well because I've got models and strategies that show me exactly where's the next growth area, where do you maximize your profit, basically.
Yep. So we got another yes from G-Shock fan, right? So G-Shock fan, I believe you are a fan of G-Shock watches. So okay, so yeah, so if you know how to look at properties, this opportunity, right? So in fact, next month we are going to look at D11 for potential gems, right? So if you are part of the community, look out for the emailer. If you are not part of community, you really got to consider, ask your friend whether you should join the community or not. I think the answer would be yes, right? So join our community, then you can see all these gems. The other thing just now I just alluded to was if you look at the city fringe OCR, right? So we look at D20, D12, Serangoon, D23, D05. We look at the prices wise. I think between D20, D12 is quite similar, right? The prices. But really a gem is, in my opinion, about D23 or even D05, right? Because D05 with the Greater Southern Waterfront master plan that's happening is going to be very exciting. So actually this month, next week, we're actually doing a deep dive into the Greater Southern Waterfront region, right? So we're going to find opportunities there. Why? Because once again, we spotted an opportunity with the $1,500 per square foot, 99 years, which is less than 5 years old at a growing area. I think there's a good chance that we can spot some gems over there, right? So that is where we're going to do a deep dive this month, actually. So in D23 itself, in my opinion, I think it's quite a undiscovered gem, right? Because 1,006 for new launches, 1,003 for 99 years, there's less than 5 years. I think if you look at the city fringe OCR, I think this area is a potential area as well. Because why? Because we look at the downtown line. Okay, if you look at the downtown line itself, you will see that actually the downtown line is a very, very well connected line. Okay, why? It's because if you take the train like me every day, right? So you will see that if let's say you get something in the Panjang area, Bukit Panjang area, this here about, right? Once you hit the Tan Kaki area, you can see at a lot of stops. Stop after stop is an interchange. So after that will be Botanic Gardens, it will be an interchange, Circle Line. Next stop Stevens is another interchange. Next stop Newton is another interchange. Next stop Newton there, another interchange. Next stop is Bugis, another interchange. So really, if this part of the line, you are really well connected. You can, within a few stops, you're on any line, right? So that's why I think that this area itself over here, right? If you see my cursor over here, I think it's a good area to look at because of this very, very good connectivity, right? And also the price wise, if you look at it, it's quite the disparity is there, right? So there's a good potential there as well, right? So Patrick, anything you want to say?
I want to say that in the past we always label some areas as ulu remote areas, but if you look at URA master plan, the government want to concentrate all the commercial and residential activity all around the southern region. They want to actually move out, and the thing is, the world is changing very, very fast. New technology is creating a totally new world, and new technology you can't build on old systems or old areas, basically. So a lot of the new tech areas are really in this so-called remote area. Agri-tech is in the northern area. The cybersecurity, Digitech will be the northeastern area. The future aeronautical and aviation hub will be the eastern area. and the Tuas area will be a biopharmaceutical hub, basically. So you'll find some of this really remote area may turn out to be the best area, because every time when there's a new development, it's always better than the previous development. It's like, Amokyo looks better than Toa Payoh, Bishan looks better than Amokyo, and then the Punggol looks better than Bishan, and Sengkang even better than Punggol. So the next area of development will always turn out to be even better. For at some point in time, Orchard Road will lose its flavor, because already shopping malls in the Heartland Mall and the Heartland Malls area are generating better returns than the one in the CBD itself, basically.
So based on all this analysis, how many of you still think that AMO Residence is a good buy? If you think that is a good buy, key in the chat say good. If you think that, hey, maybe I can do better somewhere else, key in the chat say better, right? So if you think that AMO is still a good buy, right, key in the chat say good. If you think that you can do better, key in the chat say better, right? So Patrick, what do you think? You think you can do better?
I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think it's right for us to tell you whether you should buy or you should not buy. At the end of the day, we want to give you all the options. We have rolled out as much as we can within a very short period of time, all the various options, so that at least when you buy AMO Residence, you already have seen all the other options, and you still think there's a good place for you to buy a property. You love to live around the area, and it's a nice area to live in. At the end of the day, I love Amokyo. I started off as a grassroots leader in Amokyo area. I served under Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, so I will always love the area. And if you want to go for lifestyle, it's a great area to live in. So investment is not just about lifestyle; it's about livelihood. It's about likability of the area. It's about how you leverage the investment so they can grow and strengthen your financial position assets. Yeah.
So that is our analysis, right? But very importantly is that we want to make sure, once again, time-honored gems. So very importantly is whether there are other better buys, right? So like what we mentioned earlier, this year we spotted a trend whereby developers are looking to replenish their land banks, right? So that's why in the news recently you see a lot of projects either they're putting up for collective sale or they actually went for successful en bloc opportunities. So we actually spotted one interesting opportunity, which is Bishan Park Condominium, which is still 1 km from Aitong, right? So if you look at it, it's the price wise. If you would like to receive a ebook later, we'll give the link for you to go and download. You can read. You can also watch the training video that we provided for you, right? So we will analyze in the video why we find that we shortlisted 90 over projects. What kind of criteria we use to shortlist this property, and Bishan Park Condominium is actually one of them, and it's within 1 km of Aitong, right? But very interestingly, you can see that development, not many people want to sell their unit, right? Because they know that there's a very good potential, right? So 99 years. But of course, from time to time, you'll see an odd property that is listing. So it's worthwhile taking a double take on this project itself, about $1,100 per square foot nearby AMO Residence. So over here is this, right? So Bishan Park Condominium is also about 1 km within CHIJ, right? So if let's say you want to receive the ebook or the free training on the en bloc webinar, right? So free training, I will post it here, right? You can download the ebook and then watch the training video, and then this is our present to all you guys, right? So this is possibly something that is maybe worthwhile considering along with other things, right? So very importantly, really focus on buying wisely, right? So that is our key messaging today. But very importantly is we hope that you continue and further your education, your learning with us, right? So we want to answer these few questions for you, right? Because today when you're dialing in, you want to know what to buy, right? So where is the next Singapore hotspot where you can buy 3-bedder private properties at less than $1 million, which is less than $1,000 per square foot? You also want to learn how to buy below market value properties that you can make at least $100,000 when you buy, not when you sell. And very importantly is, despite all the cooling measures like ABSD, TDSI and whatnot, how you can make more than a 4-figure passive income with limited resources, right? So if you're interested to find out all these 3 points, what you can do is this, okay? So tomorrow, by Dr. Patrick himself, physically come to our office at 7:30 p.m., right? So you can come and join us for our free property investment masterclass on how do you buy the right properties to retire rich and retire early, right? So I will post the link over here, right? So join us for our free property masterclass.
And if you do show up tomorrow, I'll be doing face-to-face, real life, real time, and we also will be answering your question one by one. But more importantly, I've also put together 3 e-manuals for all of you. My first manual on how to become rich and wealthy, a second manual on how to become a great leader, and third manual on how to achieve sustainable success. You cannot buy them in the open market because they are bigger than a book size. Basically, that's why it's a manual. So if you come, I'll give you these 3 manual free of charge. I hope it will continue to encourage you in your lifelong learning journey, basically. So tomorrow, 21st of July, Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Office is in Novena Square. Is there a Novena Square here? Okay. Novena Square above the Novena MRT. Okay, we're at Tower A. So come early and so that we can meet up with you. Normally people come early, we have a chat with you, show you around our office, get to know you, become friends with you, and see what we can do to help you in your journey, in your wealth creation journey.
Yep. So, and you show up, right, to reward you for showing up, we also give you a $10 Grab voucher. If you bring 1 to 2 friends, we will also give you a $20 Grab voucher.
Do I get a Grab voucher, by the way? I'm doing the presentation.
I think you get a what? You get a
I get mineral water. Okay, thank you very much for your generosity.
Yes.
But the fact that I can meet up with you, the fact that I can share with you my 1 cent worth of knowledge is reward enough, really.
Yes. So in fact, if let's say you want to you are afraid of COVID or you don't like to travel down, if you want to join us over a online format, feel free to come down and to our Zoom webinar. Right, so our Zoom webinar is at 8 p.m. on the 28th of July next week, Thursday. It'll be conducted by myself, right? So you can register using this link. Okay, let me just post here. So Zoom webinar will be here. Oops. Okay, Zoom webinar.
You are my competitor.
We see how many people go to Rwanda.
Just to, sorry, we are not competing one another. Just to assure you, it's worthwhile coming to our office. We have a beautiful office. We have a lot of information on the wall, and we have a huge seminar room that can technically see 190 people in a classroom format. So we keep everybody safe distance away. So so far we have been very, very good in terms of maintaining safety. In fact, we were inspected by some experts, and they say we really have done a very, very good job. And in some ways, a lot of our system is now being modeled by many other organizations.
So No Rain asked the question whether MAPIC students should attend too. Actually, MAPIC students no need to attend. What you can do is next week, I think Wednesday, what we're going to do is, because MAPIC student, you're already part of our community, right? So we do greater in-depth analysis with you, more than a 3-hour session can cover, right? So actually next week, what we're going to do with you is that we're going to spot for opportunities in the greater southern waterfront region. We're going to do a deep dive and find whether there's any opportunities there, right? So that's the benefit for being part of the community, being part of our students, right? So
you're part of the MAPIC community, my lifetime mentees. We are restarting our URA master plan class all over again. So sign for the next seminar. We are doing one sometime either the end of beginning of August. So we'll do an overview of the whole URA master plan, and then we identify where the key areas for you to invest in the years to come.
Yep. So really join us for our free property masterclass tomorrow. Come and see Patrick himself, the man himself, real life. Can they touch you now?
My wife says strictly no touch. Yeah. I'm also dying to see myself as well.
Yeah. So come down. It'll be a good chance to interact. Come with your questions, right? Because over a session like this, maybe a bit tough to type, a bit tough to answer your questions or anything that you might have. So come down prepared. If let's say you have any further questions, feel free to ask us. We are very, very more than happy to give you a very unbiased opinion and unbiased advice, right? So I think now, right? So really see you guys guys tomorrow at our live in-person masterclass. But very importantly, I think just now I make a comment to ask whether you guys want to see a real life deal that we found that is 14% below the transacted price, asking price below 14% below the transacted price, right? So Melina said yes, 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 and G-Shock fan also say yes. I just like to check whether you guys are still around, because both of you are around. So because both of you responded, so if you are around, then we will show this opportunity because the rest didn't respond, right? So if you are around, can you chat say yes, then I know that you are around, then we will show this opportunity. If not, really join us for our next session. Oh, David, David now then say yes.
Okay, here's where I take leave because I have been tasked by my masters at home. I have one daughter. I've got two daughters, one wife, one female domestic helper, and one female dog. So I have all female in my family, and that's the reason why I volunteered to do this presentation tonight and tomorrow night, because by the time I go back home, I don't have a chance to talk anymore because they're all ladies in my house. And all the ladies in my house have tasked me to go and buy some groceries on the way back. So I need to hit the supermarket before they close. So I look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow evening at 7:30 in our beautiful office. I'd like to meet you face to face. I always spend time before the presentation to get to know all of you. And I will be sharing you some really, really exciting information about property investment market. One of the things I do, I think I'm famous all over the world, is this. I always tell people this: you don't need to have a lot of expertise, a lot of knowledge, a lot of time, a lot of resources. Sometimes all you have to do is take one simple action, get involved with one simple property, and you can retire rich and wealthy for the rest of your life. One simple action, one simple property, and you can sack your boss and retire happily. So if you don't know how it's going to be done, come tomorrow. I'll show you how it's going to be done. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Thanks, Patrick.
And I'll leave it to Raymond to decide whether he want to show you this wonderful opportunity.
Okay. I think G-Shock fan is around. So, So, okay, let me just show you guys what's happening. Okay. So, in fact, if you, okay. So, in fact, if you really want to find gems, you really got to do this religiously, like us. If you don't have the time, you don't have the resources, you don't have the energy to do this, then join a community or join someone that can really do this for you. We look at property day in, day out, right? So let me just show you this, how we found this opportunity, okay? Let me just pull it out, okay? So what happens is that every month we look at property, we look at opportunities, right? So in one particular month, what happened was that we were deal sourcing in the Bugis region. Okay, so Bugis region. Oops, let me just pull out my this part. So Bugis region, this is what we do, right? So we identify a few condos that we think that is of good value, right? So then we go and identify the live listings. What are the opportunities there? Okay, so in this particular session, we look at Citygate, Kallang Riverside, Concourse, Caven Suites, South Bank, the Riverine, and whatnot. So what we do is that we go and compile a whole listing of the project, the live listing, right? So this was about April, right, that we did this. So anywhere between 2 beta, the square foot, so what is the asking price, and with the software itself, we also pull out the transacted prices. So Citygate transacted prices at a point of time about $1,979 per square foot. If we look at their launch price, we do some historical analysis. The launch price at Citygate was about $1,008, right? So what we did was we go and compare the listing price, the asking price, as the average transacted price, right? So for example, this 3 beta, this listing is asking for about close to less than 1%. That is cheaper than the transacted prices. So I mean, it's okay. But in fact, when you do this, when you do the compilation, then you get a better sensing of the market, and then you can get sensing. So basically what we did and what we found was this. We found this particular property in Concourse. If you look at it, the asking price was $1,600 per square foot. The average transacted price in that project itself is about $1,009. Okay, so it itself, you see, is $1,006. The asking, the transacted price is $1,009. So the on that note, right off the bat, you are 14% cheaper than the transacted prices. Okay. And then another key thing is this, right? Why we also compare the new launch at the launch prices is because this asking price is cheaper than the launch price. Okay, so 1,006 as compared to this 1,007, right? So when we found this, I hope the listing is still around. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's still around, right? So this is the listing. But the listing has been around for some time, right? So I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what's the thing, but I think this one, in terms of the listing wise, if you look at it, yeah, I mean, this is how we find really good opportunities. But because this is the process, right? You need to source, you need to understand the market, you source, and then you really got to do the hard work to go and meet the agent, see the listing, see the property, and that's how you really find opportunities and find the deals, right? So this is what we do on the monthly basis. We source in different locations. This month we'll be sourcing in the Greater Southern Fort Waterfront region. Next month we are sourcing in the D11 region, right? So these are the area whereby we think that there's good opportunities, right? So yeah, so this is what you do. So Evelyn, your yes comes a bit late, okay, but hopefully you get this piece of sharing. So if you have missed us earlier, right? So really tomorrow, if you are thinking about property investment, you want to do it well, do it right, right? So join us for our physical in-person masterclass together with Dr. Patrick, right? So tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. at our office above Novena MRT. And basically, if you come for the physical in-person session, you get a $10 Grab voucher. And if you bring 1 to 2 friends, you can get a further $20 Grab voucher. So why not, right? So come for our free property investment masterclass tomorrow. Okay, and if let's say you want to join us in the webinar session, it will be next week at 28th of July, Thursday, 8 p.m. will be done by me. Okay, so hopefully today you enjoy yourself in our live session, right? So hopefully with this session also help you to give you a lot of ideas on how you can start this journey, start investing correctly, and start investing profitably. Okay, if you like this webinar that we put together, please give us a subscribe, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube, hit the like button on our Facebook, okay, so that more people can see this. And the next one, when we do the analysis, we will always endeavor to do better than what we've done today, right? So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you enjoy yourself, please keep a chat, say you enjoy yourself. Hopefully we've given you lots of information. Hopefully we've given you lots of good information and also lots of entertainment, right? So we aim to give you good information and good entertainment, giving you a good edutainment, right? So that's what we like to do. So thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you at our next, either in person tomorrow or see you at our next this such session soon, right? So thank you so much, and see you very, very soon. Thanks, David. Thanks, guys. See you very, very soon. Bye. Bye. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.